Now, keep going to Ephesians 4:30, where we were. With that in mind, because he owns us and lives in us, because he commands us to walk in him, Ephesians 4:30 says, do not grieve the Holy Spirit. Another imperative. It is my duty to say no to anything that will shut off the valve of the Holy Spirit's working in my life. It's my job to make sure that nothing constricts him, nothing stops the flow of the Spirit in my life. That's a command. Now, keep going over to 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. So you go by Philippians, Colossians, 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. Because a pattern of sin that we continue in leads us further away from the vital ministry of the Holy Spirit, and we do more than grieve him. See, grieving is when I allow anger or wrath or malice or bitterness, all those things we saw in Ephesians 4. When I allow those to happen and give in to them, it right on the spot grieves the Holy Spirit. It's kind of like, being at dinner with someone and you say something and you look at them and they go, they're disappointed. They're grieved that you did that. Now, they don't get up and leave the table, but they're grieved. But now watch. The protracted grieving of the Holy Spirit leads to 1 Thessalonians 5:19. And it says there, do not quench the Spirit. Another imperative. Did you know that if you study carefully, there seems to be two levels of our harming the work of the Holy Spirit in our life? There is the grieving. And that seems to be an ongoing, if we allow these little things to creep up, it just grieves the Holy Spirit. And because he is a person, because he has a personality, because he has, the Scriptures talk about him being with human emotions grieved like we are, then we grieve him. But quenching is a step back from that. It is the actual putting out the fire of his warmth in our lives and of his power in our lives. Now you say, does quenching mean that the Holy Spirit leaves us? I'm glad you asked that. Quickly turn back to John 14, because I want to assure you right now that Jesus knew we would be concerned about that, so he addresses it in John 14, because Jesus promised something about his Spirit. And this does not mean he leaves us. It means the Holy Spirit ceases to supply us the joy and power we need for Christian living, but he doesn't leave us. John 14 and verse 16. Jesus said this, I'll pray the Father, he will give you another helper. Now this is where the language is very beneficial. In Greek language there's two anothers. Another of a different kind, another of the same kind. This is the word for another of the same kind. Jesus said, the Holy Spirit is another helper. He's just like me. You want to know what the Holy Spirit's like? He's just like Jesus. The Holy Spirit's just like Jesus. And that's what Jesus said. I'll send you another of the same kind, a helper. Now look, here's the promise, that he may abide with you forever. As believers, we're commanded to stay filled with the Spirit. It's a continuous experience. It's like drinking water from a fresh stream. But if we allow patterns of sin to continue, they lead us further and further away from his vital ministry. He is grieved, then he is quenched, and then the supply of joy and power that we need for our daily Christian life is gone.